All right. We're off.
Hey.
Today is December 4th. It's December.
It's
weird to say that out loud. It's December. We are joined here today by Carson Goodale, the co-founder of FanFood. We're going to talk a little bit about his journey as an entrepreneur. He's still in the Army, so he's pulling double duty. We'll talk about that a little bit later. We're also joined today by Christine Mortensen, Bunker Labs CMO. We're going to have a nice little chat about raising capital as well as Christmas plans, maybe. We'll see how this goes. We'll find out more today on the breakdown. All right, so we're back. So it's officially what some people call Mariah Carey season.
Yes. Mariah Carey season.
So all I want for Christmas is
a FanFood app.
Another round of finance.
Another round of finance. All I want for Christmas is 1,000 military veterans to, I don't know what camera, 1,000 military veterans to join Launch Lab January 9th to start their business. Step forward and start their own businesses. Yes. What is your Mariah Carey ask?
My Mariah Carey ask is the same exact thing. Everyone go to bunkerlabs.org/launchliveonline, sign up, step forward, use the hashtag.
All right.
That is my wish.
So, all right. So today we have Carson Goodale here. Carson is you're in the Army. You're still.
Yep, I'm in the Army Reserve still. Currently serving.
Tell us about FanFood.
Okay, yeah. So FanFood, I'll give you a quick little 30-second elevator pitch. It's common in the startup space. As a diehard sports fan, right? Are you a sports fan?
Yeah.
Christine?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Cubs.
Oh, really? Yeah, cool. I had a great meeting with him last week, actually, so more to come
we'll
on
talk
that.
Off camera about that.
Okay, so as a diehard sports fan, there's nothing more frustrating than missing a big play when you're at Wrigley Field, right? Because you were waiting in line for a hot dog and beer, right? So we created a technology platform that allows fans to order concessions on their phone and have them delivered right to their seat, or they can pick it up through an express line if they still have to go to the bathroom or something, right? So it's currently live on the iOS and Android store today. We've executed 80 live events since May. That's when we started generating revenue, which is a big milestone in startups, right? When you get your first paying customers.
Right.
Our two biggest partners is a Major League Soccer venue out in California, San Jose Earthquakes, and then we did the Formula One Grand Prix event down in Austin, Texas, which is one of America's largest live events. It was a 3-day event. There was probably 200,000+ people there. There was a Justin Timberlake and a Stevie Wonder concert, and we had the ability to service in-seat delivery and express pickup. So it was a great opportunity. We learned a ton about our business, and we're excited to get ready to take the next steps.
That's awesome. Don't get too excited about that.
Yeah. You solve one problem, there's like 3 more that arise, but that's all part of it, right? Being able to navigate through it.
Right. So I want to take a minute. I've known you now for probably about a year, a little over a year.
Veterans Day last year, right?
Veterans Day 2016.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. So you just stumbled into the bunker.
Crazy.
I mean, you didn't stumble.
Right.
You're fine. You walked into the bunker.
Yep.
On Veterans Day, which is a big day for this organization, obviously, and for a lot of other organizations out there. And I'm trying to put a piece together that day. We were graduating a cohort that day.
General Milley was here, wasn't he?
He did. Yeah,
so
Chief of Staff.
General Milley. So that's, I don't know. I remember when I got out of basic training, when I was when you meet somebody who's so high up.
I didn't know if he was walking in. I was in civilian clothes. I didn't know if I should go to the position of attention and oh boy.
That was awesome. So then I remember you moved here with your team.
Yep.
What
Well, yeah. I mean, because I got off I'm sure a lot of people tuning in, right? Got off active duty and was. I had this crazy idea that we actually launched our product while I was on active duty, and I came into contact with Bunker Labs and reached out to them to see what type of opportunities existed. And for me, it was twofold: resources and education, and I lacked both. But I was really serious about starting this company. I had this idea. I had a little bit of a product. It's okay, how can I take it to the next level? And military is probably one of the closest niche communities there is, right? It's something I'm most grateful for in the military is the relationships. And so I reached out to Justin. He said, "Oh, come on up." And that was kind of my excuse to move to Chicago when I moved up here, and you guys took me around. Yeah, on the first day, you meet the chiefs of staff. We went to William Blair, got a free lunch.
This is what every day is.
Yeah, every single day. Took me around.
That's not typical.
Yeah, 1871.
Yeah.
I mean, my experience was probably a little bit more crazy, but it just got me the most excited about moving out to Chicago and getting involved and immersing myself in this community of excited, other like-minded veteran entrepreneurs who want to start their businesses. And I just was so excited to do that. And then in March, that's when I moved up here. The cohort began right around the same time. Yep, and then from there, we started catapulting. Like I said, so March, near the end of the cohort, is when we started generating our first paying customers, been able to leverage a lot of the resources, a lot of lessons learned, and it's been a roller coaster ever since. So
that's amazing.
So talking about like your first customer, when did you feel like you knew that you had traction?
Oh, great. First of all, it depends who you talk to. What does great traction look like? And to some even investors today, they still feel that we're a bit early in the stage, right? So you got to identify what does traction look like for whomever you're talking to. For East and West Coast investors, traction may be a great looking presentation. Whereas if I'm talking to investors in the Midwest, they want to see that maybe you've done over $100,000 in sales, or that you onboarded and you've locked in some of these long-term exclusive contracts that have been pretty difficult to get. They want to see you have X thousand amount of paying customers and downloads, and so it really just kind of depends. But for me, I wanted to be kind of conservative with my traction, what I viewed as great traction. So it doesn't really matter whomever investor I'm talking to, it will always be some good traction no matter what. So I wanted to remove any of that bias. So
it's amazing. I think it's just it's so cool because we'll see each other every couple of weeks now because you're always traveling around, launching at new stadiums and whatever else. And I remember the first day you went live at I believe it was a Kings of Leon concert.
May 9th.
A day you'll never forget.
Yeah, never forget it. Yeah.
And just to see you grow and it's just been phenomenal to watch. And you are a very, very hardworking person, very full go.
Thank you.
At all time.
Yeah.
So pay attention when the person speaks.
I feel like you kind of have to be. If you're serious about an idea and turning it into a business, entrepreneurship is really hard. So, if you are serious, you have to be diligent and you have to be persistent and you have to do whatever it takes. I believe they call that grit if you want to, accomplish the mission, right? It's kind of like a military mindset that a lot of veteran entrepreneurs have.
Right. Well, when you were starting out, you're tackling stadiums, tens of thousands of people. And this is not an easy thing to just dive into this market. Yeah. So what were some of the challenges you were facing when you were, looking to go launch at a 40,000 person venue?
Yeah, well, for us, it was a bottom-up approach, right? And it's all about risk mitigation. So, you can go tell and pitch an amazing story to some of these, stadiums, but why go from the top? So a lot of for me was a learning in the early stages, and I'll be the first person to tell you that in-seat delivery or mobile ordering at live events in stadiums. We're not the first to come up with the idea. I talk to people all the time. They're like, I thought about that same exact idea. Yes, because as a diehard fan, the biggest and most annoying problem is waiting in long, stupid lines. And so it only makes sense. But it all comes down to execution. There was companies who tried it in the past that failed. And so for us, it was okay, why did you fail? What did you do right? What did you do wrong? And can we emulate the success and decrease some of that? And so for us, it was all right, we're going to launch at the high school level where there's only maybe a couple thousand people there. We're going to work out the bugs, kinks. We're going to, learn and build around that small sample size. Then we'll take the next one, which is Kings of Leon concert, which was 10, 15-ish thousand people. Okay, what went well, what didn't right? And we started to take that approach where we got to the Formula One event where we did 100,000 people in a day. So now we've tested high school, and I believe their Circuit of Americas is like 30th largest like raceway or venue in the
Yeah.
world or something like
A
that.
lot of
So
seats.
yeah, so you just really got to make sure that the technology, from the technology side, ops side, is sound. It's all about, and when you talk to like investors and anyone, it's all about risk mitigation. So what are you, even in the military, right? What are you doing to mitigate that risk? So
What are you doing to mitigate that? I'm just kidding. You just said that.
Explain it to me.
put smarter people than myself that can help grow this company to where we want it to go to.
Yeah. So to get this off the ground, did you take outside capital?
Yes, I mean we've taken capital. We've taken capital from all gamuts of the spectrum. So we've taken earlier on. It was pitch competitions. Getting I wasn't the most comfortable person getting in front of an audience and a crowd, but in the earlier stages you kind of had to do that because you learn a lot about yourself, and then B, it's relatively easy money in the earlier stages when you do have an idea or when you do have a concept to get some of that funding. I've done some unconventional ways, right?
Where did you start?
So pitch competitions in college. I may or may not have used some of my student loans to help finance our first MVP, but that's probably not something you should have.
Don't advocate that.
Yeah, don't advocate that.
It's a live feed, but we'll cut that.
Yeah, cut that one out. But we've taken a state grant, so we've taken debt. We did a family of friends round when I got off active duty, because that's one of the first early forms of funding you can take. You look to the people who believe in you, and they're willing to support that. And then we've taken angel investments. Next week we're going live on a crowdfunding equity platform. So we've done convertible debt, we've done safe agreements, we've taken money from family and friends, angel investors, debt. So we've taken the only money we haven't taken yet is institutional funding from like a venture capital group or something. But again, we anticipate that happening in Q1. So, in the next 3-4 months is when we kind of plan on taking that next step. So.
How have you balanced taking the time out to raise that money while still working on the app and improving everything and working on the business and then raising because raising
they
funds
say that
is,
but then
take a year.
They say it almost is a full-time job, but it's just another job that has to be done because you need the funds to grow your business. Well, from a technology company, you do, right? You have to be able to. A lot of it is raising funds. That's sales, right? So in an early stage, it's all about sales. Like, who are you?
Can you say it like 6 more times?
Sales, revenue. Sales.
Customers. Get customers.
Customer. It's the most important thing. And yes, investors are actually a customer as well, right? You got to go out and you got to tell your story to them, much like you would to a stadium or a fan or anyone else. So, you got to balance it and make sure you have enough money in the bank account to sustain operations for X amount of months anyway.
Yeah. So you're going live on an equity crowdfunding platform?
Yes. We're looking to raise anywhere between $50,000 and $300,000 off that.
$50.
Well, the non-accredited investor can invest as little as $100, which is kind of cool.
What platform is this?
It's hosted by Micro Ventures, but I believe it's on Indiegogo.
Okay.
It's a technology kind of tab that's more on the. So
when does that start?
Probably next week. Is when that probably goes live.
All right, send us the link so we can put it in.
We'll put that out there.
We'll do.
So, speaking of putting links places, they've got a couple comments here that some people want you to sing some Mariah Carey.
Me or
Both
Carson?
of you. Yeah, we've got a couple requests. Can we see the hosts do their best? Well, I said hosts, so not just you guys.
Yeah.
So Christine,
their
you're involved
best
in this
version
as well.
of Mariah Carey is "All I Want for Christmas." That was specific.
Well, that brings me to my next point, actually. It is flu season, so go and get a shot. I had the flu all last week, so my vocal
you sound a little
cords
sick.
are...
Yeah, you shouldn't press it.
Right, so a couple more, maybe like December, I don't even know what breakdown that would be. December, today's the 4th, so math, 18th, maybe December 18th, we'll come back and sing Mariah Carey.
We'll practice. We'll have some honey tea beforehand.
So...
Yeah.
Thank you. But
biggest takeaway from today: Mariah Carey and flu shots, if anything, in sales.
Exactly.
And sales.
Mariah Carey flu sales. Hashtag Mariah Carey.
But like Mariah Carey, though.
All right, so get this back on the rails here. So you don't always need to raise outside capital. Actually, one thing that we kind of prefer, or we talk to our early stage entrepreneurs here at Bunker Labs, is to not go out and raise early stage capital. You can start generating revenue. I mean, you're good. You don't need to give anybody else a piece of that company. And so Christine, you never took outside capital.
No, yeah, we never took. I did not want to go out and raise. I didn't want to spend that 6 months to a year. I really wanted to work on the business. I wanted to work with customers, work with clients. So I have a content marketing company on the side, and we just hit the 5-year mark this year.
Congrats.
And
nice.
Thank you. Appreciate
That's
that. And just didn't want to deal with having to be beholden to other investors. Having the money would have been really great. Looking back, we would have been so much farther a lot sooner. But we're also a service-based company, so and also at the same time trying to be a product company too. So maybe at some point we'll try to get investment for the product side, but the services side, it just never really seemed to make sense. And it was a lot. It just was easier to keep things simple at the very beginning, because you never know if something's going to even actually pan out. You can. There's a lot of companies I think Stitch Fix, I think, is actually one of them. You talked about them a couple weeks ago, where they just IPO'd, right? Or they did they actually
did.
already?
3 weeks ago.
I know they were talking about it, but it's good to hear that they actually did. The founder has talked about wished she hadn't gotten so much funding and so much investment at the very beginning, because it felt like she had her hand forced into specific directions. So
it's like that old it's a dumb problem to have kind of conversation.
Yes.
It can be such
Very
a paradox. You want to start an app, and you assume you might have an unbelievable idea for an app, but you need money to build that product. And that's the vicious cycle you get trapped in, is how do you raise money off of an idea? Nobody will give you money unless you build it. And I think
do people actually care about the certain features?
I'll be the first to admit right now.
Yeah, you're a great case study.
I built what I thought was a really special app.
It is still a special.
It's cool. Maybe I'll bring it back one day, and I'll keep that on the hush for now. But maybe I'll bring it back one day. But I built an app, and I was 22 and didn't know anything about this. Just dove right into it. Went and found developers and kind of flew into it. Went was I'm gonna take Instagram. What's that? That's literally what my mantra was. Got a couple thousand users, but didn't do it. I just didn't know what I was doing. Wasn't focused on the customers. I was just focused on
creating this really cool technology.
You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. It was the technology. If you build it, they will come. That was the philosophy.
Yeah, no,
it's not how it works.
Not how it works. It was interesting too, because to the audience, I had just won this award recently where Bob Evans Farms sponsored 3 military veterans, and they awarded $25,000 each, and they flew them out to spend the day with Damon John. And so, FanFood was one of the recipients of that. And when I was actually, networking with Damon John, his big thing was I would rather give you $10,000 to go figure out your business rather than $100,000, because you're probably more. If I give you $100,000 today and you don't have your business figured out, you're more likely to go and just blow all that money. And I think it's a good testament to. And what you said, it's just kind of figuring out your equation, right? What is your business? How are you going to make money? Does this scale?
Can it scale?
Can it scale? How do you make it scale?
Yeah. What's your model? Business
exactly.
model?
How are you making money? Answering all of these. What's your marketing strategy? What's your sales strategy? And for us too, we might have taken a little bit too much money from early investors, i.e. family and friends, to test some of these things when maybe we really didn't have it figured out. And this is me talking in hindsight, because maybe we did raise too much money in the short run, but I think we solved them, luckily, right? And we're still growing.
And every business is a little different. You're building an app, and you're dealing with stadiums and large venues, and if you don't have that user experience, the customer experience ironed out, ironclad, they're not going to work with you. Whereas like service-based business, I'm dealing with relationships, one-on-one kind of relationships, with large companies, but it's not a public event, right? And so I think with every business, you want to really take a look at your model, what your goals are, and then figuring out is taking.
Well, it's all about too, like you did say, customer experience. Like you are a service-based company, so you still have to provide a great experience or great service to whoever the client is that you're working for. Same with us. Like if we don't deliver, who would have thought that like if it takes 10 minutes to deliver concessions, that we provide a crappy experience to fans and they go and give us a 3-star review on the app? Like for us, that's not good enough. Like fans not only want concessions delivered to their seat, but they want it delivered to their seat fast. Like under 5 minutes is how we get the 5-star type reviews. And for us,
I want a hot dog and I want it
now. Even though the average wait time is 30 minutes, doesn't matter.
What?
Yeah.
And the 30 minutes?
The professional setting, Next time you're at a
Go down with FanFood.
Yeah.
We need to spread awareness about this 30-minute wait.
Yeah.
Stadiums out there, if you're listening, I don't know if you are, but if you are.
Info at fanfoodapp.com for stadium integrations. Use promo code BunkerLabs, free installation, onboarding.
Thanks. That must be a new feature.
Yeah.
It's really good.
I want to keep this moving on. So every week we're on to hacks. So we go around and we talk about one tool or thing that we use that can be directly applied to our lives to make it easier, whether it's a free service or something you're reading or listening to. What does Carson Goodale do on a day-to-day basis that keeps you sane? If you are.
Wow, day-to-day. I was planning on pitching something around like an integration feature that we just did, but I don't know if that's applicable to the audience.
You're going to pitch your own service?
No, I was going to say, so we integrated some APIs, they call them, into our technology. So we integrated Google Analytics and a Facebook API, so our users can log in a little bit quicker than they typically would have. But for us, we're capturing that data, so I can now go on and see what are fans inside venues ordering, and what are those fans' interests, and how can we better market to those fans to further drive downloads, and at the end of the day, more revenue for FanFood, because that at the end of the day is what it's all about, right? Is like top line revenue, growing revenue. So just being able to, there's just so much technology out there. Being able to like maximize that, I think, has been pretty cool. I use that every day.
It also improves their experience. So if you basically, it's like the weird circle on that is you improve your customer experience, it's more dollars for you.
Yes.
It sounds simple.
It's a hard concept to for me, I use it every day because I have to be tracking new users, new downloads, who's placing what, and stuff like that. So for me, that's what kind of keeps me insane, to make sure that people are happy with our product and offering. So,
Christine, how about you?
Well, I'm not sane, so I don't think. No, I'm just kidding. One of my favorite things that I recently discovered, actually, and I wish I found it sooner, was a site called Envato Elements.
Envato Elements.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Yeah, so Envato has a whole series of sites like themeforest.com.
That's where you get all that stuff?
Yes.
I saw that. You had an email.
I did.
Actually,
it's like, you're still catching up. It's okay.
I'm still catching up.
Yes, you're still catching up. But Envato Elements, I love it. You can get a yearly subscription for like $300, so it's well worth the money. You can get a lot of stock Illustrator files, icons, Photoshop files, videos, yes, video templates, audio files. It's a really great, and they're high quality. So it's not like some of like the crappy free ones.
And I guarantee they have every person's industry too.
They do.
They have like stadium. They have people in a stadium cheering.
Yes.
Like for like
$4.
Is that where you got that one in your pitch deck?
$4.
That photo in your pitch deck? It's a good photo.
Maybe.
So these are the real heroes.
They are.
These people that
is
are actually making these.
That's the true hack.
So save yourself some trouble.
Yeah, that's a great
Envato
Elements.
Envato Elements. Okay. Mine, to stick on the theme with raising capital, is a book called Venture Deals. Christine, I believe you read it.
I've read it 3 times.
Read it three times. It's like, I don't want to say like the Bible, but it's like, it's a good 101 playbook for how to raise money, how to learn what the inner workings of a venture capital firm look like. I mean, angel fund. It gives you all the language, the context, the bibliography, the dictionary. I mean, it's everything.
And you'll save money, in terms of like legal fees, due diligence fees, by educating yourself earlier on.
There you go. So that, once again, it's called Venture Deals. You can get it on audiobook.
Amazon
audiobook.
Yeah.
I'm a big audiobook guy.
Yes, that's how I listen to it too.
That's how millennials read these days.
Exactly. So I'm going to read this description off my phone because it's complicated. But next week we have Blake Hall joining us. He's the founder of ID.me or ID.me. ID.me, ready for this? Wallet. The ID.me wallet stores your ID cards and attaches them to your private ID.me wallet login. Basically, it's very, very, very secure information to keep your identity secure while you're on the internet. Blake is a military veteran, obviously, and he's also just a fantastic guy. So tune in next week, 4:30 Central, for the breakdown. Thank you very much, Carson. Thank you, man.
Yeah, thanks for everything. Thanks for having me.
No problem.
Yeah.
Bump.
There you go. Cool.
We should have an official handshake.
A breakdown handshake?
Yeah, or a bunker handshake.